Hello folks, this is Margie Roy from 3dcuts.com, and this is the video tutorial for the Tea Light Village Library. This is one of my additions for 2023. Tea Light Village is a collection of many buildings that's been around since 2013, and I've been adding buildings to it every year. You should go to my website at the address shown on the screen to look for additional information added onto this tutorial. I put updates there. Also on my website at this address is a page where I share photographs of how people have made and displayed their tea light villages. You will find all kinds of creative approaches to this particular project. Be sure to check that out and get inspired. This year, I'm introducing the Tea Light Village Library and the Tea Light Village Bookstore. Both of these go together with the 25 plus other buildings that I have designed over the past 10 years for the ever-growing Tea Light Village. These will be the last two additions to Tea Light Village. So check them out at my website. As always, before you start one of my projects, you are going to want to go to my website at the address shown here on the screen for this tutorial. There is more details about the type of paper I use, the other supplies I use, and any specifics that aren't included in this video to help you with making these particular designs. We're going to start with the library with its two pillars. I have already cut out all of the pieces here, and I left them on my mat because I want you to see how they cut. Beginners have a hard time with the little square windows when they cut, but it can be done with a combination of the correct papers and cutting settings. First of all, I use a mat that is sticky. It is not a brand new mat because brand new mats are too sticky and they cause the paper to curl. So it's been used a little bit. The paper I use is listed with a link to Amazon. It is a white index cardstock. It works beautifully for this, and it doesn't have a lot of fibers in it, so it cuts these small areas easily. I use a silhouette cutting machine, and I always use a premium blade. That is important. I do not use the auto blade. And I set it at about a 4 with a pressure of 31 and a speed of 2. I did some tests just of little windows to make sure that I had my settings right before I started cutting. Also, before you start cutting, there is on this one a picket fence, and you may or may not want that. If you don't want it, remove it from the file before you cut because that takes a long time to cut. Now, if it has cut properly, this will peel off fairly easily. If you're having trouble, have an X-Acto blade nearby for little corners that might have gotten stuck, but a good cut, nothing will get stuck like that. And I just wanted you to see how easy it is for it to come off when you get a good cut. The type of paper you use, as I said, is very important. Then, when you go to peel it off of the mat, use one of the spatulas that came with your machine to help prevent the pieces from curling. You got a good cut. All of the little pickets stay on the mat like that, and you get a nice clean cut. You do have to peel with care though, because the dotted score lines can tear. I carefully guide each piece off, especially near the windows, so that the little dividers don't tear. And there we go. I also cut 2 pieces of paper. This is just regular white copy paper that is 2 1/4 by 2 inches. I did these on my paper cutter. I find copy paper does not cut particularly well on the machine, and it's much easier just to do squares on the paper cutter. So you'll need 2 of those to match the outside of your building here. Now to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is make the 2 columns. To do that, along the 2 1/4 inch side of this paper, I take a toothpick and I wrap it around the toothpick, making a column. Another crafter did write in, and she said that if you use the lollipop sticks from Wilton Candy, they're just the right size. And if you do that, you don't need these pieces. Okay, I've got it all wound there. This is the top of the columns, and I'm going to put this into one of these holes and encourage the column to open up to that size. When it's tight in there, I'll take it out again, open it up a little bit, and glue it. The glue that I use is Art Glitter Glue, Aleene's Art Glitter Glue. It comes in a much bigger container. I put it into these little containers because I love the tiny tip. Aleene's Art Glitter Glue has no glitter in it. It dries clear and it dries quickly. It's a great glue for using with paper and cardstock. I have links to both the glue and the containers on my website. There we go. I'm going to put that to the side and let it dry. You need to make 2 of those. Now let's put the building together. We are going to start with this awkward looking shape here. That will be the part that holds the top of our posts here under the dormer. You start by folding on all of the dotted fold lines toward the back. I use dotted fold lines because not all machines can score, and I want my files to be able to be used by people with all different types of machines. If you use score lines, you'll have to switch these to score lines. But also, if you're cutting, if you do use the dashed lines, you don't use scoring, you use cut on the dashed lines. So I have folded this. I am now going to put glue, Art Glitter Glue, on these 2 tabs. So I'm positioning these. I'm going to take a dental tool that I have and press. And it's already sticky in there. So things hold together quite nicely. These 3 tabs go in. I put glue on these. And fold down the other side as well. If you turn this over, you do have a little bit of access in through these holes to press those in place. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side and let it dry while I work on the next piece. The next piece is the main building. And on the main building, this part down here is going to be the front door stoop. It folds up, not back. If you fold it back, it will make it hang below this edge and the building will stand crooked. That's a mistake people make with some of my designs. So make sure that the door stoop, you fold it up. There are a lot of little tabs here to fold. The other folds on the building, most of them go to the back. On the dormer, the two wing ones come to the front. If you fold them the wrong way, you can reverse them later. The top one goes to the back. It's also best if you fold the door at this time as well. That's really difficult to do once you make the building. Okay, I think I've got all my folds there. I'm now going to turn it over. I am looking at the inside of the building. I am going to put wax paper over each of the windows to cut down the glare from the lights when I use a tea light inside of these. I like to use wax paper. However, if you have tracing paper or parchment paper, those work as well. I just cut quick little shapes that are enough to cover the windows. This is all on the inside, so it is not visible when you're done. I use the glue, go around the edge, a few dots in the center, and cover it. I'll put it on high speed while I finish all of these, and you can finish yours. Okay, there we have wax paper on all of the windows. We can start by putting the building together. The first thing I will do is the door stoop. The two little tabs here out at the end, you put glue on the outside of them. Then I have this nifty set of tweezers here that I like to use on these places that are just really tiny and too small for my fingers. I grab them with the tweezers, get them in place, grab them with the tweezers, and hold them for about the count of 4 when the glue gets sticky. Let's do the other end now as well. Okay, that's the first side of the door stoop. Again, on these two little ones, we do the outside glue. We fold it up to make a box. We take the tweezers and we squeeze it in place, making sure things are square as we do so. Hold it till it stays there. Do the other side. Now I have folded the two longer tabs in. I will put glue on those. And I will also put glue on this edge here. This will now all fold up and fit right under the door there to make a door stoop. I'm going to hold it for a few seconds. And there, we now have our door stoop. Now I'm going to put the rest of the building together. I will start by the side end tab. Bring it and wrap it around and glue the other side to it. The bottom should align and the edge should be perfectly aligned as well. You want to make sure you keep things square as you put these buildings together. With the art glitter glue, you have a few seconds to slide things if you don't get your placement exactly right. And that's helpful at times when you're putting it together. Okay, now it's time to attach the first level of the roof. I do the back two tabs first. I do them both, putting glue on them. Now we're going to glue the other side of the roof. At this time, you'll put glue on 3 tabs. The 2 on the front roof here, and this end tab as well. Kind of pull the dormer out of the way gently, slide this down behind it and in, and reach in and squeeze that together. Meanwhile, make sure the edges are even here. You can turn it over and press from the inside to get a good seal. Okay, now on the dormer, we will put a little bit of glue on the peak tab here, that's the tiny one, and glue the two top edges together. I think I'm going to switch to my tweezers on these because that's a close fit there. Let that dry, or stick anyhow, not dry. Now these two tabs, which we folded up, will get glue on the bottom side, and we will glue that right onto the roof, like so. That all gets covered with the final roof, so those tabs will not be visible. Okay, now it's time to add the pillars. They go into the two holes here on the front door stoop. I'm going to put glue on the base of the pillar. I'm also going to put some glue down in the hole there. Put one pillar in. Do the same with the second pillar. Now these pillars are a little bit too long. So once I get them in there and I understand, make sure that the seam goes in toward the building. I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut these to match the diagonal of the dormer there. Whoops, didn't mean to take it out. Then we will take the little triangle that we made earlier. That will go on top of these. We put glue on this triangle here. The two will glue together. This will all be under the roof, so you won't see that seam. We'll put glue on the top of the pillars here. And we will take this and slide it down, gluing it onto the front and getting the pillars to go into the little triangle. The triangle should line up with the dormer here and here. This seam will get hidden. And we want to look at it from the front and make sure that it is square. I want these two here and here to be parallel. And I want that to dry. Seams showing, twisting that around. Good. Now, the main roof gets put on top to cover the tabs. You put the glue onto this roof here because it's the smaller piece. Cover the tabs there, all the edges. Same on the back roof. And this goes down right over that. Press it into place. This is the dormer roof. Fold that in half. Put glue onto both parts of the dormer here and across that seam. Both sides. And take this roof and cover that. Make sure everything is nice and square. Here we have our library for Tea Light Village. I often include little accessories to go with the different buildings. Here is the tree. You'll see these in a lot of my Tea Light Villages, and they all go together in similar ways. I'll show you here. The tree has two dotted lines, score lines going up through the center. You fold on both of them, making a spine up the back. You do that on both halves. Then I'm going to take my art glitter glue and run just a line of glue down this spine. Take the two halves and glue them together, lining up the bottoms. After they're dry, you can separate out the four sides and make a tree that will stand up. Now, Tea Light Village has a lot of other buildings, and you can combine this with the other buildings. There are bases that you can use to go with it as well. Look at my website. You can choose to put a tea light, a battery-operated tea light, to the inside, but if you're putting a lot of them together, you're going to want to use remote-controlled fairy lights so that you can turn them off and on with one switch. There are directions on how to install the fairy lights in different tutorials at my website, so go and check it all out and have a great time making the rest of Tea Light Village. Lighting it is optional, but it certainly makes a stunning display when you do add lights. Thanks for watching and happy crafting, everyone. Have a great day.